The narrative that firearm prices would stabilize this year has been proven mechanically false. We are not just witnessing inflation. We are witnessing the permanent evaporation of surplus military inventory. The era of buying crate guns for pocket change is mathematically over, and the window to acquire specific high-viability platforms is closing rapidly. We are looking at hardware that bridges the gap between affordable tools and unobtainable investments. These are not just range toys. These are proven defensive mechanisms that are currently undervalued by the market, but are on a trajectory to become financial impossibilities for the average citizen. We are analyzing logistics, mechanical durability, and defensive practicality to identify exactly what you need to secure before the supply chain hits zero. Number 12. Zastava M57 Tokarev. Starting off at number 12, we have the Zastava M57 Tokarev. While often dismissed as just another Soviet bloc surplus pistol, the M57 offers a ballistic capability that modern 9mm platforms simply cannot match without specialized ammunition. Chambered in the bottlenecked 7.62 by 25mm Tokarev cartridge, this platform produces velocities capable of defeating soft body armor and heavy winter clothing that would stop standard defensive rounds, making it a viable choice for rural defense or vehicle interdiction scenarios. Unlike the original Russian TT-33, the Yugoslavian M57 features a lengthened grip frame accommodating 9 rounds instead of 8, which drastically improves the control leverage for shooters with larger hands. This is an all-steel, single-action hammer-fired system that is virtually indestructible under normal use, built to withstand submachine gun pressures. However, prospective owners must be aware of specific logistical drawbacks. Most imported units feature a mandated aftermarket frame or trigger safety added to meet import points. These are often crudely installed and can severely interfere with the trigger pull or holster fitment. Furthermore, you are logistically locked into finding specific M57 magazines. Because the grip is longer, standard Russian, Chinese, or Romanian magazines will not lock into this weapon, creating a potential single point of failure if you cannot source the correct Yugoslavian magazines. Finally, for home defense in urban structures, the high velocity of the Tokarev round poses a significant risk of passing through the target and multiple interior walls, creating a liability issue that requires careful consideration of your firing lanes. Number 11. Star Bonifacio Echeverria Model BM. Moving to number 11, we have the Star Model BM, a Spanish defensive staple that is frequently misunderstood as a simple 1911 clone. While it shares the aesthetic DNA and the crisp single-action trigger brake of the American classic, the Star BM is mechanically distinct with a simplified lockwork that lacks a grip safety, relying instead on a positive manual thumb safety. This all-steel, compact 9mm offers exceptional shootability. The sheer weight of the frame absorbs the recoil impulse of modern defensive loads, allowing for rapid follow-up shots that polymer micro-compacts simply cannot replicate. For a shooter on a budget, it provides the ergonomics of a high-end custom pistol at a surplus price point, making it an excellent entry point for those learning the cocked and locked carry condition. However, the logistics of owning a Star BM require a proactive mindset. Unlike the 1911, there is zero parts interchangeability with standard government models. If an internal component breaks, you cannot simply order a replacement from a general catalog. A critical operational warning for this platform involves the firing pin. The Star BM is not drop-safe in the modern sense, and dry firing this weapon without a snap cap can cause the firing pin to shatter due to its length and temper. Furthermore, the external extractor is robust but proprietary. Owners must secure a reserve supply of recoil springs and magazines immediately upon purchase, as the surplus stream from Spain has dried up. And aftermarket magazines often suffer from feed lip geometry issues that compromise reliability. Number 10. Beretta M1951. At number 10 sits the Beretta M1951, the evolutionary bridge between the World War II era and the modern Wonder 9s. This single-stack 9mm utilizes the open-slide design characteristic of Beretta, which drastically reduces the likelihood of stovepipe malfunctions by leaving nowhere for the ejected casing to get trapped. The M1951 is prized for its slim profile, making it far easier to conceal inside the waistband than its successor, the double-stack Beretta 92. It features a crossbolt safety located at the top of the grip, which, while unconventional by modern standards, is positive and tactile. The fixed barrel design inherent to its locking block system yields mechanical accuracy that is often superior to modern tilting barrel service pistols. From a sustainment perspective, the M1951 has a known Achilles heel, the locking block. This component takes the brunt of the recoil stress, and prolonged use with high-pressure NATO specification ammunition or modern +P defensive rounds can cause the locking block to crack or shear, rendering the pistol inoperable. Sourcing a replacement locking block is becoming a significant challenge as global supplies dwindle. Additionally, the magazine release is located at the heel of the grip rather than behind the trigger guard. This necessitates a rip-and-replace manual of arms that requires two hands and is significantly slower than modern push-button reloads, a tactical deficit that must be mitigated through specific training drills if this weapon is pressed into a defensive role. Number 9. Turkish Mauser M38. Coming in at number 9 is the Turkish Mauser M38, a platform that represents the absolute zenith of bolt-action durability. Built on the large-ring Mauser 98 action, this rifle is capable of handling catastrophic pressures that would disassemble lesser firearms. These rifles were often refurbished in Turkish arsenals using a mix of German and Czech parts, resulting in a weapon that prioritizes function over form. Chambered in the potent 8mm Mauser cartridge, the M38 delivers terminal ballistics capable of penetrating urban cover, such as vehicle doors and cinder blocks, with ease. The controlled round feed extractor is a massive claw that grabs the cartridge rim immediately leaving the magazine, ensuring that you can cycle the bolt while running, upside down, or injured without facing a double feed malfunction. The drawbacks of the M38 are largely environmental and ergonomic. With an overall length approaching 50 inches, this is a pike of a rifle, making it completely unsuitable for home defense or maneuvering within a vehicle. It is strictly a perimeter defense tool. Furthermore, the vast majority of affordable 8mm ammunition on the market is military surplus with corrosive primers. If the user fails to flush the bore and bolt face with water or a specialized solvent immediately after firing, the salts from the primers will attract moisture and ruin the rifling within days. Finally, the barleycorn-style sights are extremely fine and difficult to acquire under low-light stress, often requiring modification or paint for practical defensive use. Number 8. Polish P64. Landing at number 8 is the Polish P64, a firearm that is physically small but demands significant respect regarding its operation. Often visually compared to the Walther PPK, the P64 is internally distinct and was designed specifically for the military and police forces of Cold War Poland using the 9x18mm Makarov cartridge. This is a direct blowback, all-steel pistol that is incredibly dense for its size, making it one of the most concealable powerhouse pistols on the surplus market. It disappears completely under light clothing and offers deep concealment capabilities that modern polymer subcompacts struggle to match due to their slide width. The fixed barrel design contributes to exceptional mechanical accuracy, meaning the gun is capable of precision far beyond its sight radius. However, the P64 is notorious for its double-action trigger pull, which is arguably the heaviest of any service pistol ever fielded, often exceeding 20 pounds. While this makes the weapon incredibly safe to carry with a round in the chamber without a holster, it renders the first shot extremely difficult to place accurately under stress without extensive grip strength training. Additionally, the direct blowback system transfers nearly all recoil energy directly into the web of the shooter's hand. It is not a pleasant range gun. It is a specialized tool for close-quarters neutralization where adrenaline masks the pain. Prospective owners must also be aware of the low capacity, 6 rounds, and the heel-release magazine latch, which slows reload times to a crawl compared to modern standards. Number 7. Swiss K31. Number 7 brings us to the Swiss K31, which represents the pinnacle of general-issue bolt-action precision. Unlike the rotating bolt systems of the Mauser or Mosin Nagant, the K31 utilizes a straight pull action. This mechanism allows the shooter to cycle the bolt with a simple linear back-and-forth motion, drastically reducing the time between shots and allowing the shooter to maintain their sight picture more effectively during rapid fire. The machining quality of these rifles is comparable to modern commercial match rifles, capable of sub-MOA accuracy right out of the crate. Most K31s found on the market have been maintained in pristine condition due to the Swiss militia system, where soldiers kept their rifles at home and were personally responsible for their upkeep. The logistical challenge with the K31 lies in its feed system and optics compatibility. The rifle ejects spent casings almost vertically, which makes mounting a traditional scope directly over the receiver impossible without specialized offset mounts or deflectors. Furthermore, the action is built with watch-like tolerances. While this ensures accuracy, it means the rifle is far more susceptible to jamming if mud, sand, or debris enters the raceways compared to looser combat rifles. Finally, ammunition availability is a constant concern. The 7.5 by 55 mm Swiss cartridge, specifically the GP11 Surplus, is match-grade ammunition that is becoming increasingly rare and expensive. Owners must often rely on reloading to maintain a steady supply of food for this rifle, adding a layer of complexity to ownership. Number 6. Romanian SKS. At number 6, we analyze the Romanian SKS, a semi-automatic carbine that serves as the bridge between the bolt-action era and the modern assault rifle. Manufactured on Soviet tooling, the Romanian variant features a milled receiver and a chrome-lined barrel, offering exceptional durability and corrosion resistance against the cheap, corrosive ammunition it was designed to fire. The SKS feeds from a fixed 10-round magazine, which gives it a distinct logistical advantage in jurisdictions with strict assault weapon bans or magazine capacity restrictions. Its low profile, devoid of a protruding 30-round banana magazine, allows the shooter to get lower to the ground in the prone position, maximizing cover in a defensive scenario. Despite its reliability, the SKS platform carries a specific mechanical risk known as slam firing. The firing pin is free-floating and lacks a return spring. If the firing pin channel is not meticulously cleaned of cosmoline or carbon buildup, the pin can stick in the forward position, causing the rifle to fire uncontrollably in full auto immediately upon chambering a round. This is a catastrophic safety failure that requires vigilant maintenance to prevent. Additionally, reloading the SKS rapidly requires the use of stripper clips. This is a perishable fine motor skill that degrades rapidly under high stress. While the SKS is a robust truck gun, the manual of arms is antiquated, and mounting modern optics or lights usually requires irreversible modifications that compromise the rifle's reliability. Number 5. Ruger P85, P89. Breaking into the top 5, we have the Ruger P85 and P89 series, platforms that prioritize structural integrity over almost every other design consideration. Introduced in the late 1980s as Ruger's entry into the high-capacity service pistol market, these pistols are built like tanks, utilizing an investment-cast aluminum frame and a massive steel slide that results in a service life documented to exceed 20,000 rounds. The P-Series is legendary for its ability to feed and cycle ammunition that would choke tighter-tolerance match guns. It is practically indifferent to bullet geometry or casing quality. If your primary criteria for a defensive sidearm is that it must function when dirty, dry, or neglected, the Ruger P-Series is the mechanical answer. However, this durability comes at the cost of ergonomics and handling. The bore axis is exceptionally high, sitting well above the shooter's hand, which creates significantly more muzzle flip and perceived recoil than modern striker-fired designs. The double-action trigger pull is heavy, measuring approximately 11 to 13 pounds for the first shot, which can make precision difficult without dedicated practice. Furthermore, finding duty-grade retention holsters for the P89 in the current market is virtually impossible. While parts availability remains decent for now, Ruger discontinued this series in 2013, meaning we are entering the phase where specialized springs and extractors will slowly disappear from commercial inventory. Number 4. Bulgarian Makarov PM. At number 4 is the Bulgarian Makarov PM, the definitive sidearm of the Eastern Bloc, and arguably the most reliable direct blowback pistol ever mass-produced. While the Polish P64 discussed earlier is a concealed carry adaptation, the Makarov PM is a true duty pistol, featuring a slightly larger frame and a slide-mounted decocker jock safety that is intuitively easy to operate. Chambered in 9 by 18 mm Makarov, the pistol consists of only 27 parts, a testament to Soviet engineering philosophy where simplicity equals reliability. The barrel is fixed to the frame and typically chrome-lined, offering extreme resistance to corrosion from sweat or environmental moisture. In a survival or long-term ownership scenario, the Makarov is a top-tier choice because there are almost no small springs or pins to lose or break. It is a tool meant to be maintained in a muddy trench, not a sterile, clean room. The primary limitations of the Makarov platform are its sights and reload speed. The sights are often integral to the slide or extremely small, making target acquisition under stress slow compared to modern high-visibility sights. Like many European pistols of its era, it utilizes a heel-mounted magazine release, which forces the user to use two hands to change the magazine, significantly increasing the time the weapon is out of the fight during a reload. Additionally, while the 9 by 18 mm cartridge is sufficient for defense, it lacks the terminal energy and expansion consistency of modern 9 by 19 mm defensive loads. Users must carefully select their ammunition to ensure adequate penetration without overexpanding and failing to reach vital structures. Number 3. Lee Enfield Number 4, MK1. Securing the number 3 spot is the Lee Enfield Number 4 MK1, a battle rifle that redefined the volume of fire capable from a bolt-action platform. Unlike the Mauser or Mosin-Nagant, the Lee Enfield utilizes a rear-locking action and a cock-on-closing bolt system. This mechanical difference allows for an incredibly fast cycling rate, enabling trained shooters to deliver effective suppression fire at rates that rival semi-automatic rifles. Furthermore, it features a detachable 10-round box magazine, double the capacity of its contemporaries, giving the user a distinct tactical advantage in sustained engagements. The Number 4 variant specifically features arguably the best battle sights ever put on a general-issue rifle. With a robust aperture sight that offers a clearer sight picture and longer sight radius than open-notch sights. However, the Lee Enfield is not without its idiosyncrasies. The .303 British cartridge is a rimmed round, which introduces the risk of rim lock if the magazine is loaded carelessly. If the rim of the top cartridge sits behind the rim of the cartridge below it, the bolt will jam, creating a stoppage that cannot be cleared by simple manipulation. From a maintenance standpoint, the two-piece stock design requires precise bedding at the receiver and muzzle. If this tension is disrupted by humidity or loose screws, the point of impact can shift dramatically, wandering inches off target. Finally, the supply of high-quality .303 surplus ammunition has effectively evaporated, meaning owners now face commercial prices of over $1 per round, making this a costly platform to train with regularly. Number 2. Yugoslavian Zastava M70 AK. Taking the number 2 spot is the Yugoslavian Zastava M70, a platform that represents a significant deviation from the standard Warsaw Pact geometry. While often categorized simply as an AK-47, the M70 is structurally closer to a light machine gun support weapon than a standard infantry rifle. The defining characteristic of this platform is the 1.5 mm thick receiver and the reinforced bulged front trunnion, which provides significantly more rigidity and thermal mass than the standard 1 mm receivers found on Russian or Romanian AKMs. From a defensive standpoint, this additional metal means the rifle can sustain a higher volume of fire before heat shift affects your zero. And the cold, hammer-forged, chrome-lined barrel is absolutely critical for maintaining accuracy when running surplus corrosive ammunition. It is a heavy, overbuilt tool designed to survive neglect that would destroy lesser rifles. However, the Yugo pattern brings specific logistical hurdles that owners must navigate. The M70 does not accept standard AKM furniture. The handguards are longer, and the stock attachment interface is unique, meaning you cannot simply swap in standard Magpul or Zenitko parts intended for Russian or Polish rifles without specific adapters. This severely limits your ability to modernize the rifle with lights, lasers, or optics, unless you buy specialized components. Additionally, the weight distribution is noticeably front-heavy due to the reinforced trunnion and barrel profile, which increases user fatigue during low-ready drills or extended perimeter patrols. With surplus imports drying up and availability decreasing by over 77% since 2022, The spare parts market for these specific proprietary components is tightening, making it essential to stack deep on extractors and firing pins now. Number 1. Mosin Nagant 9130. Finally, at number 1, we have the Mosin Nagant 9130. We are placing this at the top not because it is the most technologically advanced, but because it represents the most drastic shift from disposable commodity to investment-grade asset in the current market. Producing over 17 million units, this rifle defines the concept of quantity as a quality of its own. Chambered in the full-power 7.62 by 54 mm rimmed cartridge, the 9130 delivers ballistic energy comparable to the 3006, capable of engaging targets effectively out to 500 meters with iron sights. Its mechanical simplicity allows for field stripping and repair with zero tools, a critical factor for long-term sustainment in austere environments where gunsmithing support is non-existent. The internal magazine is fed via stripper clips, and the system is loose enough to function even when the action is fouled with mud or carbon. However, the Mosin Nagant has severe ergonomic and mechanical flaws that must be trained around. The safety mechanism is a heavy knob that must be pulled back and rotated. It requires significant hand strength and completely breaks the firing grip to disengage, making the weapon tactically unsafe to carry with a round in the chamber during high-stress readiness conditions. Furthermore, the sticky bolt syndrome is a documented issue. As the rifle heats up, lacquer from steel-cased ammunition can melt and glue the casing to the chamber walls, requiring the user to physically beat the bolt handle open to extract the spent round. Finally, the supply of cheap surplus ammunition has been severed due to import restrictions. What was once a rifle you could feed for pennies is now a platform that requires commercial ammunition prices to sustain, fundamentally changing its role from a cheap plinker to a specialized historic heavy hitter. The affordable firearms market faces fundamental supply constraints that will inevitably drive prices upward across these platforms. Import restrictions, depleted surplus stocks, and geopolitical tensions have created scarcity where abundance previously existed. If you want more breakdowns like this, hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Stay prepared.